Welcome to Vintage Book Vault, and I recently picked up a nice little lot of vintage sleeves and was cataloging these and gonna fix and clean this up and thought I'd just do a quick video kind of showing how I do it. So the condition of the books are actually quite good. This one has a little tear on the bottom of the spine and a little bit of glue residue from a sticker. It's just kind of faded a little bit. So one of my secret weapons that I use on these covers is called plastics, and it's used to clean and polish lens covers on cars. So if my wife was to ask you when I was using this, of course I was wearing gloves, so don't tell her. And it is toxic, so should take it seriously. Make sure you wash your hands. But what this is, very, very small abrasives in it and a polish too. So for covers that actually have a little bit of plastic-like coating around the wrappers, that's higher gloss, this works really well. Some books don't quite have the high gloss finish on the papers. I would not use anything that has moisture in it on those. But for these types of covers, this works pretty well. So a little bit of this stuff goes actually quite a ways. But what it does, it'll take quite a bit of staining out. You can see that's coming out there. There's a little bit like a scuff mark or maybe pen mark. But just a little bit of the polish and a lot of elbow grease does really well. Clean it up. I won't make them perfect, and these books are really old, but it does clean them pretty well and puts a nice little polish on them. Of course, it's probably best to start with a little bit of a test area that maybe doesn't have a lot of ink on it, just to make sure it's not going to cause any problems. But it's taking some of the grime off there. Get a little bit more. And the other thing it'll do, some of the really small little indentations or scratches on it, it'll actually clean them up a little bit, make it look nice. Certainly better than it did when we started. Now, you want to be careful you have chipping, like we have along the shoulder of the joint here. I usually avoid those. I don't want to get moisture in there. There's a risk that moisture will get up underneath the outside of the paper and could cause it to wrinkle. Don't want that. Got a little bit of glue residue here. So usually the first thing I use to clean up, if you have things sticking like food and who knows what else is out there, just a plastic eraser actually works pretty well to clean a lot of things up on books, both inside and out. So that's taking the glue residue off pretty nicely. Got a little bit of chipping there, so I don't want to make it worse. All the tools I use, I have a box full of these high polymer erasers. They work for quite a few things. I got that stuff off. I'm gonna use a little bit of the polish, see if I can get any of the staining out. Yeah, it's taking some of those stains out pretty nicely, cleaning it up. Now, you also want to be careful not to get too crazy and catch an edge. You can crease your covers, so I like to keep pressure down, not get too wild on what I'm doing. Again, it's probably not going to make it perfect, but Cleans it up, gets some of the staining out. Puts a nice little polish on it when we buff it here. Yeah, it looks better than it did. Yeah, cleaned up nicely. Not perfect, but much better. Now, oftentimes I don't do a lot with the spine, because especially if it has creases and wrinkles and chipping like this one does. Let me clean it up a little bit with the eraser. But I don't want to get the moisture up underneath the outside layer of that wrapper, because it can cause wrinkling. You may just hit that little spot right there a tiny bit. Yeah, it didn't look too bad. Now, fix this. I use stick glues on covers, because again, PVA is good glue, but it has a higher moisture content, and so it's sometimes fixing even little tears like this can cause them to wrinkle. So I use stick glue, which has a much lower moisture content. All the materials I use are acid-free, so they won't react with the acidic pulps and papers that were used at the time. I'll just spread a thin layer, and I have a little, it's an artist's or painter's trowel, I think is what it's called. I picked it up in an art store. But what's nice about having just a little flat tool like this, you can actually get up underneath there, get the glue down where you want it. So you don't need a lot. I think I probably did a little bit too much on that. You can put this under pressure. And oftentimes these little repairs like this don't need too much. I won't put it in the book press, but I may put something with a little bit of weight on it just to get that corner to lay down nicely. But that's it. This is it's a late 60s, 1968 book by Venice. The little ding there, it's in pretty decent shape. But that's just a quick video showing how I clean them up and fix some of the little cover tears that we have. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. Be happy to answer.